What if everything you've been told about starting over at 50 is wrong? What if it's not a setback, but the greatest advantage you've ever had? Here's the truth. The world treats starting over like a failure, especially at our age. But I've come to believe something else, something that changed everything for me. I know what it feels like to look around at 50 and think, this isn't where I was supposed to be. The career didn't go the way I planned, the relationship didn't last, and the voice inside your head says you missed your window. That starting over is for something people do at 25, not 55, that you should have had this all figured out by now. But what if that voice is wrong? Today, I want to give you 5 reasons why starting over after 50 isn't a disadvantage, it's a gift. And the 5th one, it's the one I didn't understand until I lived it myself. Reason number 1, and this is the foundation everything else sits on, you actually know who you are now. Think about your 20s or 30s. How many decisions did you make trying to become someone you weren't? Chasing careers you didn't want, relationships you thought you should want, a version of success that belonged to someone else. At 50, you've lived long enough to know what drains you and what lights you up. You know what you're good at and what you actually bring to the table. That clarity is priceless. A 25-year-old can't buy it or hustle their way to it. It's the only one way to earn it, by living. Starting over when you know who you are isn't starting from scratch, it's starting from clarity. Reason number 2, you've already survived things that would have broken a younger version of you. By 50, life has thrown its punches. You've lost people. You've failed at things that matter. You've been disappointed, rejected, overlooked. And here's the thing, you're still standing. Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every difficult time you've gone through has made something. Call it grit. Call it perspective. Call it the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that you can handle tough things because you already have. Starting over is scary, but here's what the younger version of you didn't have. Proof. Proof that you've been knocked down before and back up. Proof that the worst thing you feared usually didn't happen. Proof that you're stronger than you think. You're not starting empty-handed. You're starting over, holding decades of evidence that you can survive hard things. Reason number 3, and this one might feel like the most freeing of all, you know what actually matters now. And just as importantly, you know what doesn't. I've spent my 20s, 30s chasing things that felt urgent, but turned out not to be. The promotion, the approval, the house, the status. At 50, you've learned something that younger people are still paying for in stress and burnout. You've learned that the meaning isn't about what you've collected, it's about what you've contributed. Not through money, not through status, not through having all the answers. Life gains meaning through the people you love, the lives you touch, and the moments you're truly present for. When you start over with that knowledge, you don't waste time on things that don't matter. You build differently, smarter, and build a life that actually fits the person you've become. Reason number 4, your relationships are real now. By 50, some friendships have fallen away. The people who are still in your life, they've chosen to be there, and you've chosen them. That matters more than I can explain. When you're young, you can have a lot of friends, but at 50, there are fewer friends but deeper connections. The people around you actually know you, the real you, and when you're starting over, that changes everything. You're not doing it alone. You're doing it with people who have seen you at your worst and showed up anyway. The right relationships don't just support you, they remind you of who you are when you forget. They see the version of you that's evolving. And now reason number 5, the one I had to live to understand. Time feels real now. Not like it's endless. When you're 25, the future feels infinite. You can afford to take your time. You can say someday and mean it, but at 50, someday starts to sound like what it really is, a way of saying probably never. That sounds like bad news, but here's why it's actually a gift. When time feels real, you stop waiting for the life you actually want. You stop putting your happiness on hold, convincing yourself you'll do it when everything lines up. The urgency that comes with being 50 isn't fear, it's focus. It's the decision to stop spending your remaining years on things that don't make you happy. It's permission to say no, not because you've given up, but because you finally know what's worth saying yes to. Starting over at 50 means starting over with intention. This is the difference between a life that happens to you and a life you actually choose. So those are the 5. You know who you are, you survived hard things, you know what matters, you have real relationships, and time feels real now. These are advantages. They're the things younger people are still trying desperately to figure out. And you already have them. If starting over at 50 has been on your mind, whether it be a career change, a new direction, or just a completely different way of living, I hope this gave you a different way to see it. Not as a setback, as a gift. Thanks for watching. If this resonated, subscribe and follow for more.